Hey, jingity jing, it's Dominic the donkey. Jingity jing, the Italian Christmas donkey. La 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 la.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I'm your host, Adam Portress, and not joining me today because his heart grew 2 sizes too big. Sweet Shelton Kovacs from the internet isn't here, but our own Tiny Tim is Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and I'm hoping we have a good holiday season.
I'm hoping we do too. If you haven't put it together by now, we called a little bit of an audible yet again. I don't know what it is about us in this last 2 months. We've been busy.
We're living life to the fullest.
Yeah,
that's all.
We're doing all the. There's a lot of balls in the air. We want to make sure that we catch them all here, and they have thrown us a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that it feels like we've been talking about for 16 years at this point.
Yes.
But we finally got it, and will it be worth the wait? We will soon find out today. But before we get to all of that, we do want to say a giant thank you to the people that support this show over at patreon.com/HMP. Those awesome people get pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone. And, when me and Bruce are alone on the Dinger Zone, who knows what can happen over there. So you got to be careful.
We're talking food.
There's food. We talk a little flat earth.
Food, flat earth, and dreams. That's what we talk about.
Because he won't allow us otherwise. So if you'd like to hear things that you can't hear anywhere else on the interwebs, and you want to support this show at the same time, be like all those awesome people and drop on over patreon.com/HMP. Like I said, we don't want to put like 15 minutes worth of ads on any show. Not that anyone would, deem this podcast worthy enough to start. We do every now and then. We get some offers, but then most of the time we turn them down because it's not enough money, or any money for that matter.
Hey, I'll just say I am wearing a Manscaped t-shirt right now.
I noticed that. Bruce did a live thing, and I was just like, listen, Bruce is even wearing his free swag over here that we got, and that was all the more payment that we got from it. So we don't want to sit there and do 15-minute commercial blocks. And I don't know about you, but the podcasts that I listen to, man, oh man, do you got to hit that jump button a whole bunch, because all they do is talk about and try to sell you crap that, quite frankly, we know that you don't want. But what we want is for you to just figure out whatever this show means to you. Put that in a dollar form, send it our way, get yourself some more stuff in the meantime. And so let's talk about what one of those things is. One of those awesome perks that you guys get is you guys get to vote. And we talked about it last week. It was going to be the thing this week, but we pushed it till next week because of the Guardians. But here were the choices for our Patreon selection. We had Kung Fu Hustle, Mortal Prime, Ip Man, House from 1977, and Chan-wook Park's Thirst. Kung Fu Hustle has won out by a landslide. So next week we'll be talking Kung Fu Hustle as per our Patreon supporters. So if you'd like to be like one of those Patreon supporters, help support this show and get yourself a little bit of extra stuff in the meantime, head on over to patreon.com/HMP and join today. We really appreciate all of you guys. And if you're on the list and you're in the, we'll call it $20 or above, you got something to pitch for your for whatever, we'll talk about it. Please do drop us a little line here. We always want to. We know we have other people that have podcasts and stuff that listen to this show. So if you got any of that, hit us up. Patreon.com/HMP. Yeah, we want to share some of that love with all of our friends and everything. All right, let's get into it. Here is the trailer for the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
I just saw on the calendar that right now on Earth, it's almost Christmas time.
We don't have time for trivialities like Christmas.
But Peter's so sad about Gamora being gone. Maybe if we go to Earth for a really wonderful Christmas gift, it would make him happy. Something special he will never forget.
What about someone special?
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
I just said that, Drax.
Your voice is small and mousy. I think maybe he didn't hear you. Ah! You're coming with us as a Christmas present. I'm Groot.
everybody. That was the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. You know what time it is.
It's time for Bruce's Comic Book Connection.
Oh, I saw so many of those little Marvel holiday-themed comic book pages in that Marvel opening, so I can only imagine what you got for us, Bruce.
Well, in 2008, Star-Lord got a little band together. His motivation was the Phalanx invasion of the crew. And in the aftermath of that tragedy, Peter Quill decided the galaxy needed a crew to guard it. And thus, the Guardians of the Galaxy was born. Star-Lord wanted only the best folks in his ensemble. And when you want the galaxy's finest, you start with Adam Warlock, a cosmic being artificially created on Earth by the Enclave, genetically engineered to be perfect in the next evolution of humanity. He is kind of a messianic figure, so he would fit right in for a Christmas special, but he's not in it. He also recruited Drax the Destroyer, a guy with incredible reflexes so nothing goes over his head. Quill also secured the services of the lovely and talented Gamora, who was created by Jim Starlin. Adam, did I ever tell you that I met Jim Starlin?
Once or twice.
Mar-Vell's artificially constructed daughter, Phyla-Vell, was a shoe-in for the team, and Star-Lord rounded out the team with some familiar names: Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and Mantis. They set up a base of operations inside a decapitated Celestial's head and call it Nowhere. And they installed Cosmo, the Soviet dog, as its chief of security. And Cosmo's story is a tragic one. Launched into Earth's orbit by the Soviet space program, the pooch must have thought he was Will Robinson because old boy got lost in space. Now, what do you think are the chances my dog could get lost in space? Like, is there a sign-up sheet or something? Now, the same cosmic rays that transformed the Fantastic Four got a hold of Cosmo and gave him/her psionic abilities. I said him/her because I don't know Cosmo's gender. I don't know if he's got a doodle or a bing bing, but we'll find out.
I heard it sounded like everybody was saying lady. That's just
Well,
the vibe
it's a
I got.
lady voice.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think anyway,
It's a
let's
dog.
see what my comic connection reveals here. So I'm not talking rinky-dink powers for Cosmo either. He's shown. I use the word he, so maybe he's got a doodle and not a bing bing. Well, anyway, he was shown to be capable of creating defensive shields strong enough to deflect energy blasts, as well as project mind blasts of tremendous force. His exact power levels are unknown, but he has shown to be strong enough to take on a being such as Adam Warlock by himself, and powerful enough to unleash a telekinetic blast able to disable two separate teams of superhumans. He also doesn't seem to age, given that most dogs born in the USSR during the 1960s are no longer with us. You don't see many 60-year-old Russian dogs, do you?
Nah.
Now, personally, I like to think of Cosmo as an episode of Wishbone that got a little out of hand. And speaking of getting out of hand, Adam, do you have a list?
Oh, over the Christmas, I do. Over the Christmas Thanksgiving break, like I mentioned this, apropos, I mentioned Wishbone, and they had no clue what I was talking about. I'm like, yo, let me get you in on this. What's the story, Wishbone? And then they looked at me like I was from another
you
planet.
Just do a screening of a Wishbone binge or whatever?
Yeah, we started watching Alf instead. Well, if that wasn't enough for everybody, let me sell everybody on this another Marvel Christmas special here, because this sucker's got everything. We got another special presentation opening, Christmas-themed Marvel Studio opening. Christmas songs ain't nobody know except for that aunt who lived in the UK for 6 months and acts like it was a lifetime. We're talking about you, Aunt Jessica! Rotoscope Michael Rucker, Drax, but a bit fatter. Nah, the scarf fooled me, though, 100%. You got it. Super hot ladies covered in makeup. That's a James Gunn specialty. Cosmo, the talking Russian dog. Bradley Cooper giving more in this animated performance than Vin Diesel has given in the last 15 years. The old 97, a mixed-up Christmas song, a Hermie reference, Zargnut's sister reveal, kidnapping Kevin Bacon, the TCL Chinese Theater, or as it's actually known, Grauman's. That ain't changing. I don't care who paid for what. We got the Hollywood Boulevard cosplayers, GoBots, a bar scene that has me starting to believe that James Gunn doesn't go to bars that often. Homes of the Stars maps Santa Claus versus the Martians, decorations stealing, windows smashing, Kevin Bacon Goes Police Story, good bacon acting, bad bacon acting, good bacon singing, actors giving us the speech about how bad actors are. I'll allow it. Christmas Wonderland, Snowfall on Nowhere, Bacon in a Box, Groot is a guy in a suit, I'm almost positive, a Game Boy, Bucky's arm, the best mock-up since Hereditary, more Yondu stuff that'll make you tear up, and an after credits sequence that'll make you want more. This special has everything.
Oh man, excellent list there, Adam. And I got so many talking points that are just kind of like something I saw in the movie makes me want to ask a question or makes me want to talk about something. So kind of talking about the movie, but also asking some speculative questions here. But I just want to start off with the whole Kevin Bacon storyline. And I was watching this and suddenly I started thinking about you, Sean, and myself. And it's pretty obvious. If we're trying to cheer you up for Christmas, we're going to get you Lil White. You want to cheer me up, you're going to go get Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Who do we get for Sean?
Ooh. Okay, we're getting Sean a Christmas present. We gotta find somebody, the Kevin Bacon equivalent in some way, shape, or form.
Who is Sean's Kevin Bacon? Because it's pretty clear who you and I would want.
Now we need to. I feel like it's got to be a remaining Beastie Boy.
That's kind of where I'm leaning into. It's like, which one died?
Yeah, Ad Rock died. I think Dustin Diamond. Give him a Dustin Diamond. Maybe
not Dustin Diamond. Dustin Diamond is Screech.
No. That's what I was saying on purpose. He should just as close as you can get, but not the real one.
So give him Dustin Diamond
give him
instead
his
of Ad Rock.
Wait. Am I an a-hole? Did Dustin Diamond die too?
No, he didn't die, did he?
I don't know.
It's one of those things. If he died, I'd believe it, and if he didn't, I'd believe it also.
Yeah, apologies to everybody. I'm sorry. Let's
Mike
move on
D,
from that.
Is Mike D who we get for Sean?
Sure, that or listen. Reginald Vell Johnson really should be like that's kind of like my
he
guy
could be
right
a two
there.
birds, one stone. I think he might satisfy you and Sean.
Listen, trust me, he would be bringing everyone Christmas joy. You got the Family Matters connection, you got the Die Hard connection, and every good cop that ever walked this fair planet. That's Reginald Vell Johnson in my book.
Oh man, yeah. So it's settled. Everyone on Earth needs for Christmas is Reginald Vell Johnson.
Listen, you're writing my. If I was if I was James Gunn, this is the story that I would have been writing.
Now, were you very familiar with the old 97s?
No, not in the least. But the thing that
Same
kind
here.
of gets me is like people are like, "Oh yeah," I'm like, we're not talking about like the Rolling Stones or whomever. Like picky, even like if Fish showed up, at like it's like they're slightly more obscure, but like I at least know who that is. I'm like, I don't know. But then again, if like some punk band showed up that I knew and then other people didn't know, I'd probably start wagging a finger going like, how do you not know this group?
Well, I read about the old 97s on Wikipedia, and I'm kind of surprised I didn't hear about them because I was into a lot of alt country when I lived in Nashville, like circa 2001 to 2004, which I think the old 97s were active then. I was like watching Old Crow Medicine Show and Hank Williams Jr. or Hank Williams III and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I know nothing about the old 97s, but I do like their song, which I think could potentially rival What Do You Get a Wookiee for Christmas When He's Already Got a Comb as a weird sci-fi Christmas song.
It's a good one. The Wookiee for that it's a tough sell to top that one if we're honest. But
it's a catchy tune, but it's not as complex as the old 97 song about elves stabbing his eye out while Mrs. Claus works the pole.
And you're right. And here's the thing. Now, while I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the song wasn't well written by James Gunn, no less. Gunn wrote all the songs in this thing, which I thought
would
was
have thought the old 97s wrote that.
No,
Impressed.
From what I'm to understand, James Gunn himself wrote all these songs, which I think was an impressive feat because, sometimes movie writing and stuff don't necessarily translate over, but like he's always kind of shown himself to have like at least a better grasp on music than a lot of other, well, maybe not a lot of other, but some directors, I suppose. He chooses very interesting things that other people don't, so he's probably more into music than a lot of others.
Kevin Bacon gets a pretty big musical number, and I started to wonder if that's like part of the deal. It's like, okay, we really want you to make this fun Christmas movie. here's how we're going to sweeten it. If you make it, we'll let you sing. Like I feel like like a lot of those guys have their garage band that they really say, oh, my band is my true passion. Acting's just how I pay the bills. Like I feel like that's a way to trap people like Russell Crowe and Kevin Bacon into doing stuff.
Well, and it's 100% true. And like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that like, and I don't know this from nothing. This is my best guess, but I'm sure that that factored into the whole thing. And here's the deal. Kevin Bacon, not for nothing, Bacon Brothers Band, they've been doing this for like, I don't know, 25 plus years at this point.
He seemed very comfortable on stage singing and performing.
And he legit, like the Bacon Brothers, like while they are who they are and everything, they ain't bad. They're actually talented musicians who can play and sing and do all that stuff. So I take zero away from Kevin Bacon for wanting to do this. And the best part is I love that it's him doing it because number one, he can sing, and when he's doing this, you feel it. It doesn't feel like the Star Wars holiday special where somebody would be just going like, oh, we'll come up with this stuff. No, it's really being done and done well.
I will say that they did do a much better job of integrating the musical numbers than the Star Wars Holiday Special did, which, I mean, let's go ahead and talk about that. Mm-hmm. The Star Wars Holiday Special, unquestionably the inspiration for this Guardians Holiday Special, which is even complicated by the fact that last year there was a Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. So is there going to be an homage to the Star Wars Holiday Special every year now on Disney Plus?
Here's the thing. I think there should be. I think there should always be something. Maybe not Star Wars like the special to begin with. Because I'll say this: I think a lot of people, when they heard that, when James Gunn came out and said, "Listen, I'm a fan of the original Star Wars Holiday Special. I think it's a lot of fun. Blah blah blah. I kind of want to make my own little version of that." And I think people were looking. Some people, I think incorrectly, were looking for that in this, and it's like. Listen, he said that he wants to make something that's akin to that kind of in a way, but like he ain't remaking that because let's be honest, we reviewed it on this show a couple years ago. It's pretty garbage.
It's rough. And I think I said this to you guys before we got a chance to watch the Guardians Holiday Special. I was really, really worried that he would do that thing where you make it bad on purpose and think people are going to like it. And I'm glad he did not do that. I'm glad we didn't have like Chris Pratt in a Santa hat doing a lounge act or something.
Yeah, it would have been terrible. Or like, oh, here's the cooking section with Rocket and Groot. And like, while there's elements of that, like when you hear it out loud, when you hear us say it, because like it sounds fun. But like, if you say it with like, "Hey, Harvey Korman's going to dress up like a robot lady and make
with
some food,"
extra arms,
and you're going to think it's terrible. Like on the surface, you go like, "Wow, that could be like really hilarious and funny." Like that, he's a very funny guy. Or sure, that's a great bit. And then when
the
you
least
see it,
funny
it's
performance of
so
his
bad.
lifetime.
It's so bad. It's just absolutely awful, and you don't want that.
I am a dyed-in-the-wool Carol Burnett show fan, and I will tell you, the worst performance of his lifetime was that holiday special.
Yeah, at least with the other times he was cracking up because he was having a great time. Here, there's not a
Tim Conway doing it to him. Yeah,
well, there's nothing to be shed other than just sadness.
And for what it's worth, he's great in Blazing Saddles. Terrible around the same time as the Julie Childs thing.
It doesn't make any sense. It's called just being roped into something, I guess.
So I was very glad they didn't make it bad on purpose. Also, I was kind of happy that we got to spend a little bit of time with Drax and Mantis. Like they're our central part, which I think a lot of that probably deals with availability, you know. But I do kind of like that we got to explore a couple of characters that I like that are, I don't want to call them one note, but man, I think that's what you got to call them, right? That like they're kind of one note supporting characters, so we got to spend a little bit more time with them,
right? And not for nothing, but like the reason behind those characters not having as much stretch and stuff as they do is because, let's be honest, they weren't the kind of central performance characters of those shows. Guardians of the Galaxy is much as it's an ensemble piece, isn't a Drax piece. I mean, it's about Peter.
Well, it's also kind of its shtick is everybody besides Gamora is kind of one note. Even Peter's kind of the dumb but lovable, like dumb but competent kind of guy. Mm-hmm. So they all kind of like it's kind of their thing. Groot's kind of one note. Rocket's kind of one note. So other than Gamora, that's like their shtick. So I can buy it, but I do like getting to spend time with Mantis. And something that I totally missed from Guardians 2 is I had totally lost track of the fact that Mantis was Ego's daughter. So it felt like news to me that she was Star-Lord's sister, but it was a good storyline.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing. When you go back and look, old James Gunn, that kind of guy, it seems like he kind of knows what he's doing. Because in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he is seen like, because the old thing is Ego goes around, spreading his seed across the galaxy, hoping that he can get something that's going to be, what he wants it to be and everything. And in that montage of people that he shows up on that big kind of projection screen dealy thing, whatever, he is in the background making out with somebody who looks just like Mantis, who indeed was the lady who plays Mantis.
Okay.
And so this has been like a seed that has been planted years ago, and I love that. And in fact, James Gunn had to, because they found some pictures. This is way back when Guardians 2 came out. They found some pictures and stuff of her with him, with Kurt Russell. She's got a couple of dots on her face because they're going to redo some stuff later and everything. James Gunn had to kind of try to pretend away that, and it worked. No one, people kind of knew and called it out, and James Gunn was like, listen, just don't read everything into whatever you might sort of did. And people were exactly right.
Very nice, man.
So, but I like it. And again, I'd much rather, I like that other than, I'm glad there's no romantic relationship yet again. I'm fine with, I like them just being siblings. I think that's kind of a cool thing. And ultimately something that works for Peter as a character too.
And Peter's romantic relationships, Gamora.
That's it.
Are we ever going to get, James Gunn's tenure is going to end with the third one. I feel pretty certain.
Yeah.
Are we going to get a romance angle between Drax and Mantis? Because I really thought that's where they were headed with some of the stuff going on here.
I don't think so. I hope not. I don't like seeing either of those people as like sexual beings in any way, I guess.
Well, that's because they're both so asexual and so hyper literal. That's why the relationship would work. Like they would say, I don't love you exactly, but I also don't want to love anyone else. So how about we just kind of hang out, and that way nobody will ask either one of us out on dates.
We both tolerate our presences more than
they
the
did kind of roll into Drax's muscle man physique with the bachelorette parties on Hollywood and Vine or whatever when they were in L.A.
I will say this, and I feel like I can point fingers as a man who's not in the wildest of great shapes all the time. Dave Bautista gained a little bit of weight, and his head looks gigantic in this role.
I mean, what is he, like 55 now? I mean, he's not a young guy.
Oh, I understand. Neither is one Sylvester Stallone, and we see the tank that man is. So,
You know what? Save the horse testicles and let Batista grow old gracefully. Let him be in a world full of Stallones. Be a Schwarzenegger.
The funny part is this is horrible. It looks like it might be like a corset or something because like his like midsection is all like it's nice and tight, right? But like his head is gigantic. Like he took a corset and like all the fat went up to the head like it kind of does.
Here's what I'm picturing is they just wrapped him in like a green t-shirt and then green screened a new body on him when I see the big head on the body.
But they were like, let's put a scarf around him. It's holidays. It's the holidays. Shut up. Shh, quiet.
Now, here's something I think is cool, and I may be way off here. But it looked to me like they decided, let's make Groot a rubber suit.
I think so.
Groot's body looked not that different than Michael Chiklis is the Thing.
Mm-hmm. And they did the right thing, I think, because like it's clearly a body. And the biggest moment that you know that this is the case is at the end when Groot's handing out all the presents to everybody, and Peter gives him a slap on the shoulder. It's the most realistic thing you've ever seen in your entire life. There's no way that you're faking it that well in CGI. I just don't buy it.
Here's where I'm going with it. If it's to the point where Groot's a guy in a suit, tell Vin Diesel. He wants to keep saying, I am Groot. He's got to wear the suit.
I am 1,000% on board with that. I wonder if Vin Diesel just is getting mailbox money on this at this point, or if he indeed insists upon going in and recording his line.
Because I feel like for Guardians 1, when he goes into the studio and he says, "I am Groot" like 6,000 times. Then he says, "Yo soy Groot" like another 6,000 times.
You get all of your languages done. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that is mailbox money. Like, why do you call him back in with all the digital manipulation we can do with audio now?
Yeah. Give me a happy one. Give me a sad one. Give me a frustrated one. Give me a constipated one. Just go through the list of things, and and here's the thing about somebody like Vin Diesel. He'll go, "Oh, I know exactly what that sounds like. I know exactly how Groot would say, I've got to go to the bathroom, but can only say it as I am Groot. So step back while I perform my magic." I see Vin Diesel saying that 100%.
Have you seen like the YouTube clips or whatever of him like at the microphone? Looks like I don't know. To me, it looks like a Shure SM7B or something. And he's there with the headphones on, the most serious look in the world on his face. And he's going, "Yo soy Groot."
Yeah, and he's wearing
He's so funny.
He's wearing like aviators, and he looks like he's Pitbull or something. He looks like Pitbull's in the studio saying, "Yo soy Groot," and it's just like, what? Why are you going so hard on this? It's like the cameras are on clearly.
For some reason, I've never seen the "I am Groot" videos, but I've seen the "Yo soy Groot" where he's really, really into it.
I liked Kevin Bacon. I thought like he was. It's so bizarre.
I think he looked like he was having a blast.
Yeah, but at the same time too, there are moments where it's just like I'm not 100% sure what he's doing, because like sometimes I really, like I said in the kind of breakdown, I was like, he's acting really good in some spots. He's acting really terrible in some. I know some of it is like he's under the mind control. Fine. But there's other moments where you're just like, oh, I don't know about all that. That's a weird move. And then he like does something. He goes Kevin Bacon, and you're like, oh, well, no, he can't act. Look at him.
And I think he did a good job, because when I'm watching it, I'm feeling sorry for Kevin Bacon. Like like there's no reason to feel sorry for him. He did nothing against his will. He got paid. He agreed to everything. But as I'm watching it, I'm really feeling like he got forced to do something he didn't want to do. So I guess he did a good job. He sold it to me.
Yeah. Make me feel like you don't want to be here. What if that's how they got him? They're just like, listen, we're not going to pay you crap.
And I love, at the end when Kevin Bacon's performing on stage, singing a song, he's wearing the Christmas sweater vest. And I was sitting there watching that, and it was like, my whole life has now changed. I'm going to be a Christmas sweater vest guy, because I don't like the ugly Christmas sweater. It gets a little too hot. You're kind of married to the idea.
Yeah.
But with the sweater vest, you can always take it off if things aren't going your way. I am Christmas sweater vest guy, I think, this year.
Christmas sweater vest. You're going to look like every third grade teacher ever. It's going to be great.
Yes. And Kevin Bacon.
And Kevin Bacon's like, oh, look, there's like a little Santa on it and everything. So,
and I wasn't expecting a cameo from Kira Sedgwick on the phone.
I like that. I thought that was like a great little thing. At the same time, too, though, Bruce, let me ask you a question here.
Yeah.
When you pick up the phone, do you normally just call your wife Karen?
No, I say like, "Hey, sweetie," or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly. I know.
They wanted us to know it was Kira on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's what they wanted. Like that was like a little bit of info for us to know. Like, hey, this is Kevin Bacon's actual wife and everything. But I'm like, no one like says their significant other's first name. Like, oh, hello, Karen. Like you don't do that. You just go, hey, babe, what are you doing?
And I feel like it was part of the deal. Like to get Kevin Bacon, you had to give like $500 of sweet voice acting to Kira. Like maybe she wasn't camera ready. She didn't want to be on camera, but she still wanted $500 to get some stuff to put in her Christmas stocking.
I love the conceit later on with the cell phone and stuff. It's just like, how do you get this call? We got a couple of satellites over there. You can 4,000 light years. You'll be fine.
Just don't think too hard about it. It all works.
Yeah, it's just called shut up. This works, and you can have that moment. And I love it. It's a great, stupid holiday moment where, one of the characters just goes, no, it's up to me to save Christmas. Like, that's what I was, like, I may have been brought here under false pretenses and everything, but gosh darn it, it feels right. It's in their hearts. All they wanted was something good. Would you do a concert for your kidnappers at some point?
Unless it was the only way to get out. Like if it was a way to get free, yes. But otherwise, I am not the kind of guy you're going to come and kidnap me and then win me over to your cause because it's good natured. Like I'm going to be pissed from that point on.
Bruce ain't no Squeaky Fromm. Let it be known.
Yes. I'm no Patty Hearst.
Okay. this was a great thing. We were talking about the presents and stuff they were giving out there at the end and stuff, and Rocket gets Bucky's arm from
That
from
was
Nebula.
beautiful. Yeah, Nebula was awesome in this show. She had very small part, but like even when she was like kind of dancing, she was doing it with a certain amount of attitude or something. I really like Jillian. What's her name? Jillian Anderson.
That's from the that's from X-Files.
Oh, and Jillian. What's her name?
You're messing me up. Karen Jacobs.
Karen Gillian. Karen Gillian.
Gillian. Yeah, you're messing me up. Just giving 8,000 other names that are not
Gillian's a
correct.
totally different person.
No, yeah, that's. But she's great. By the way, apparently she's just like unceremoniously just like jumped on TikTok or something. She's been on for like a week. No one knows it's her. But like she even had to be like, yeah, that's me, kind of thing.
Karen Gillian's been on TikTok for like a week.
Yeah, she like I just happened to scroll by and it's just like you think it's one of those things that somebody posted up and then somebody asked a question. It's like, is this really you? She goes, yeah, it's really me.
Does TikTok have blue check marks? I don't know.
They do, but like she has not got one yet. Like she's like literally that new. Like it's green, but like when you look and you're like, no, that's 100% her. And
Nice.
I just again, I love the James Gunn. We will take some of the most beautiful women in the entire planet and just put ungodly amounts of alien makeup and stuff on them. It's so great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, she still has some kind of inhuman beauty as Nebula, but you're right. She is a beautiful lady. That's kind of funny to cover up under all that.
Her and then Palm, who plays Mantis, and then the other gal, DeBecky in Guardians 2, where she's playing that kind of golden whatever the thing is, and like
who's Becky?
DeBecky, Elizabeth. I think it's Elizabeth DeBecky.
You said when you said it, I thought you said Becky, and I was like, who the heck is? Like my mind went to Roseanne. As like Becky from Roseanne. I was like, I don't remember Becky from Roseanne being in any Guardians.
You don't remember that? That was a good one. The late 90s. It was a.
Now, I will say that Gamora. I mean, Gamora. There's a lot of makeup there, but not looking that different from Zoe Saldana. Just a different skin tone. That's about it.
She's almost another one where it's just like, again, another gorgeous lady who, for whatever reason, the world keeps trying to hide her from us. Between
case in point, Avatar.
Between Avatar, it's just like, this lady is beautiful. Can we have her actual human beautiful face on these things so we can look at her proper instead of these and the CGI stuff, the makeup? It's all well and good, but it's just like, let that pretty lady out, will you?
He covers up the beautiful women, but he gives us all the straight Sean gun we can handle.
Oh yeah, listen,
whatever they did to his head around that fin that he got from Yondu, it looks kind of gross to me. It's like an unhealing wound or something that fin's walking up through.
Wouldn't that be what it looks like? I guess is it kind of like.
But Yondu's didn't gross me out because it was blue, but because his is like actual human flesh color, it kind of grosses me out.
Yeah, and he's got like great the teeth prosthetics that they put in that character, just fantastic. Makes him look even grosser and just disgusting. Yeah. But again, Kraglin's such like a great low key character that you don't kind of think about. And like when he's got Bacon in the Ravager, not the Ravager. Was this the Ravager that they're flying or whatever? I don't know what they're flying.
Yeah,
anyway,
whatever.
They're flying a vehicle. But when he's in there and everything, he's that emotional grounding point. And obviously, being James Gunn's brother and everything, you get a lot of really great lines, and he gives them just convincingly. I'm just so surprised when he's on screen that he has that kind of that rapscallion with a heart of gold. It really comes out. With him.
He's really bringing that Gilmore Girls energy to
it. Write that down on your tombstone there.
Now, I hated that Sean's not with us because I got to say, in my whole life, I've never met a GoBots fan other than Sean. And Sean self-identifies as a GoBots fan.
Yeah.
And this is probably the brightest light that has been shown upon GoBots since they launched in the 80s. I don't know that GoBots have had a platform this big in a very long time, but GoBots come into play in this movie, which is awesome because now it's canon that GoBots are real in the MCU.
And it's not only it's James Gunn has even stated he's put out on online and everything that GoBots indeed are canon in MCU at this point. So
a GoBot killed his cousin. We get to see. we do get to see Drax beat the crap out of a GoBot cosplayer.
That was fantastic.
Which in and of itself is ridiculous. Who puts together a GoBot costume when it would be for the same amount of work you could be a Transformer?
Oh, for sure. Because people love the GoBots. You know what it is. You got to get those.
Nobody loves GoBots but Sean.
You got to get those $20 from the Sean guys that are walking around Hollywood Boulevard, which, by the way, I will say looks the most like what it actually looks like in any depiction I've ever seen in film, I think. I look at that and I just go like, yep, that's precisely what it like. There's no artifice to that. There's no like extra set. You can just tell. It looks they almost didn't light it from the looks of it, because it is exactly what that is with no dressing, and I kind of love that.
And I know that they had the standard thank you to the state of Georgia, the Georgia Film Board, blah blah blah. But I really think they filmed in L.A.
No,
I think
that 100
scenes in L.A.
No, that was 1,000% L. Because like I said, the reason I say that is because I've walked that street and it is precisely like that. It is.
I've never been to Los Angeles, so I'm just basing it on what I've seen on television and movies.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like this was like I'm like, oh, I've literally walked exactly where they're walking, and it looks exactly like that. So I was like, that much they shot there, but everything else clearly Georgia. I think. Can I tell you what I think? Partially,
let's hear it.
This special is a little bit about.
I want to hear it.
I think while maybe not super direct, super out there, maybe people won't be thinking about it, but I did while watching this, is that I think this while being a great holiday special, talking about the meaning of Christmas and holidays and all that kind of good stuff, I think this is also slightly a defense of Chris Pratt movie.
Whoa, now I wasn't expecting that. Tell me more. I mean, I can understand why some people aren't the biggest fans of Chris Pratt in his personal life, but you can't argue with the guy's on-screen persona as Star-Lord.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that like, and James Gunn will tell you that like, they don't necessarily agree with each other on everything, and frankly, no one should. If you agree with everyone on everything, then one of you is following around a little bit too much, because people shouldn't agree on everything all of the time. But at the same time, you can also treat people with dignity and respect, like fellow human beings, And
nope, I refuse.
And he oftentimes, with Chris Pratt, has said, "Listen, I know this man, and you know that he does. But he's done 2.5 movies with him, working on that third one. That if anybody knows who Chris Pratt is on a personal level, James Gunn's going to be one of those guys. Not you, not me, not anyone else that's watched the movies or heard stories or whatever, but a man who has worked with him day in, day out for several years across, many different properties and stuff. So he's going to know that guy a little bit more, and that's what this felt like to me. I mean, part of that, like, the whole thing on the ship with Bacon, and he's like, oh, he's an actor, actors are horrible people, blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff.
That was kind of fun.
It's a nice jab and stuff, but it is what like a lot of people think. And like, yeah, there are some actors that certainly act D-baggy in a lot of ways and stuff, but at the same time too, no matter who they are also still people. I feel like that was part of this as well. And like, because the story, while it doesn't necessarily, Peter's not the main protagonist. He's not the guy that's moving the plot per se, but he is that focus of it.
And acting, is an unusual job. Mm-hmm. Acting's not like your typical job, because I go to Applebee's and those chicken tenders come out, and those chicken tenders are delicious. I don't worry about the politics of the guy who deep fried them, right?
Yeah.
But even if I see Chris Pratt giving the best Peter Quill performance in movies, potentially I'm going to not let myself enjoy that because maybe I don't agree with what the guy says on Twitter or something like that. I'm afraid to even say the word Twitter now, because it's like, but you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, and then that's
when I'm eating them yummy chicken tenders. I don't care that the guy is a neo-Marxist or something. I really don't care about the guy who fried my chicken tenders if they're delicious.
Yeah, make it good.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being a neo-Marxist. I just spit out something that a lot of people won't like.
Well, at the same time too, listen, as long as those chicken nuggets like aren't people, Like, I think I'm all right. You know, if you're handing me chicken nuggets and they're actually people and you tell me that they're chicken nuggets, perhaps I'm not going to like you as much. I feel like at that point, I can judge.
Stay away from Soylent Filet.
Yeah, you don't want any of that. Did you know that they made, like, first of all, it was bad enough that they made the drink called Soylent, and now there's a mint one. There's literally
green.
a
Yes,
Soylent
I've seen
green
the
out there.
Soylent
It's
green.
like, what?
Yep.
What is on your mind, people? Just insane.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing.
I like, again, I didn't think they could do this, but James Gunn, you SOB, you've got at it yet again with the Yondu thing. I for sure I was just like, oh, they're gonna set this up, blah blah blah. Yondu ruined Christmas, but we're going. And I love the fact that Kraglin doesn't know the rest of that story,
Yes.
and it's just. Oh, it's so beautiful. He comes up, sees that thing, opens it up, and it's just like, you know what? Maybe this Christmas isn't all that bad. And we find out where he finally got like his 2 matching guns and everything. It was so sweet. And I was just like, I tell you what, you really just nailed it there.
I love that ongoing Yondu Peter Quill storyline. Like, it's one of the best in the MCU, in my opinion. Now, there's no question in my mind that Sean Gunn says this is canon, but does Kevin Feige think it's canon? Like, will the events like will there be an Avengers 6 where somebody mentions Kevin Bacon, or like, oh, you mean the guy that Peter Quill kidnapped that Christmas?
I don't. I don't know how many ramifications it might have towards the greater good of. I don't think Kang is going to bring up Kevin Bacon in Quantumania.
Are we going to see like Ant-Man driving in his van listening to the old 97's Christmas song?
Yeah, like, okay, there does need to be a point in the Marvel universe where they just kind of go, no, we can't be doing this. Like, there's a way to reference things and call back to stuff, but there's also doing it way too much and having way too much in there. I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi, let's just point to that. I mean, it's like, and as bad as that was, it could have been even worse. But
well, what about this is not the first time, because it happened in the Eternals, but I feel like people noticed it a lot more here. But talk about Bruce Wayne and Batman in the MCU.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Bacon himself saying he was Batman. So,
I wonder how much of that was like James Gunn saying, you know what, after I'm done with this next special and movie, I'm over as the big, I'm the big wiener over at WB, so I'm going to drop a little Batman reference here.
Why not? I mean, and here's the thing, like, while watching this, though, it gives me more hope for DC and what they're doing. Yeah. And like, I think we all pointed to them saying this is such a smart move for them to finally get someone. And the fact that it's this guy is kind of perfect.
In 2 years, will HBO Max have a Harley Quinn Christmas special or a Peacemaker Christmas special? Because I feel like there's going to be a James Gunn DC Christmas special now. I feel like that's kind of part of why they're getting him, giving him the keys to the kingdom, is to get him to, we'll do the same shtick you do for them, but just do it for us.
I mean, I don't think that, I'm certainly sure that that's a component of it, which is just like, hey, what you've done over there in whatever way you can, please replicate that over here, because we are a sinking ship, it seems, and we're rudderless, we have no direction.
So which one would you be more interested in, a Harley Quinn Christmas special or a Peacemaker Christmas special?
Well, with the Harley Quinn one, I guess you got to numero uno, you got to nail down who Harley Quinn's going to be. Is it going to be Margot Robbie? If it's Margot Robbie, maybe. But at the same time, too, I think with where
I didn't even know there was a question. Is she done with the character? Because I can't picture anybody else as Harley Quinn but Margot.
I don't know. Like I said, I think that's a very good question.
This is one of those things like in the year 2060 or whatever, when she's like 60 something years old, I still want her as Harley Quinn. I feel like in the old days they would do that. Like Eartha Kitt could be really, really old and still be Catwoman to me. I feel like I want her to be like a throwback to the old days. Like Adam West was 70 and still playing Batman on like that weird special that we watched.
She comes out here and goes, me, ow, 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 my back hurts. I don't know. I think maybe a Peacemaker one could be good. I think given, and again, that was another show that we started and was like, oh, I don't know how good this is going to be, and it turns out it was great. It's like James Gunn has that kind of whatever it is right now. You know what it feels like? You tell me if this sounds like a crazy statement. And I'm not saying it's 1-to-1. I'm not saying it's the exact same feel. I'm saying it's the kind of vibe and the power that kind of goes along with it, I suppose. Gunn right now feels like kind of Whedon at the top of his power.
Yes. I certainly hope he,
like, in a good way.
doesn't
Like in the
have
good
the
ways.
fall. Yeah. Yeah. Like he's got the interest and the reach, but I think he's got a more consistent style. I think Whedon's style was wearing thin even before he fell from grace because of his personal behavior. So yes, I think Gunn has a longer lasting style, but yeah, I think that's a great comparison. And also the whole DC just trying to get the hot guy from Marvel. Let's hope they have better luck this time than they did with Whedon.
Yeah, and I think it'll stay. But now at the same time too, with Gunn leaving and everything, obviously doing Guardians 3 before then, with the after credits and everything, is James Gunn coming back for maybe another? Maybe he's just comes back every year and does a special of some sort for something. I don't know. What do you think about what do you think about this? So we're doing are we doing something else? We're doing another special.
If I can use a reference from Enola Holmes too, I think his dance card's going to be pretty full at Warner Brothers. I think they're going to intentionally try to keep him busy so that he can't work for both teams.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Well, yeah. Once he hits the DC scene, I think there's going to be so much for him to do that, like, I wonder how much directing he'll get done within that amount of time. My guess is he'll probably be like, listen, I need maybe one in here every now and then.
I think he'll constantly be working on something that's his, but he's also going to be doing a whole lot of, like, he's going to have to be Feige and the Russo brothers at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And think about that. I mean, the Russo brothers didn't run the whole thing. They were just two very cognizant wheels in this overall Kevin Feige, Rube Goldberg machine that is Marvel Studios. So
Yes.
just trying to make sure everything is, rolling at the same pace and stuff. And I really hope that Gunn becomes that figure for DC, because they need that, and they need someone to point them in the right direction. The fact that James Gunn might do that and still be able to kind of keep all the ideas of what's currently going on in the DC with like some sort of multiversal kind of, who knows? I don't know. I'm so excited with, like, I'm happy he got to do with the Guardians what he has been able to do and stuff. And like we said, this is a group of characters that no one gave two craps about. But when I was sitting down in a theater years ago, people were excited about Guardians 2 coming out. And it blew my mind to hear 12-year-old kids walking into a movie excited about that, and like Ant-Man 2. And you're like, what world do we live in right now? and here's the thing, right? We should easily have that feeling about Shazam, about, any of those, any Batman movie coming out, to where it should be like the biggest and baddest thing. And for whatever reason these days, it's really not. And somebody needs to get that little spark of magic back in there. And shoot, I mean, Disney themselves is going through yet another one of those, bringing Bob Iger back after 5 minutes being gone. They're like, please come back and fix the ship.
The best conspiracy theory I heard is that Disney lost all their money in the FTX crypto crash, and that's why they brought Iger back.
That's hilarious. You also want to kind of go like, did none of y'all read the FAQ on cryptos and stuff? Like, because I got some Bitcoin. I'm not gonna sit here and say like what they're chasing is nothing, but like you also have to understand what different coins are and stuff, and it doesn't seem like anybody quite understood that. I think you guys just started, it was a Ponzi scheme, essentially. It was yet another one of those that somehow a lot of these people fell for. And man, if people over at Disney fell for that, my word, I guess Tom Brady
I heard
can
that's
sell
why
y'all
they got
on
rid of the
anything.
old guy and brought Iger back in.
Hey,
The old guy was he put all their reserves into FTX.
we thought it would be a really good plan. It turns out no.
So now, after losing $60 billion, they're going to have to sell to Apple.
Well, what do you think about that? Just before we get to the final thing here and everything, that's a possibility. People are talking that Disney may actually go and then sell off to Apple as opposed to.
I think, Apple has their market dominance in the area that they're in. I don't know that they have a lot to gain by buying Disney, but if Disney goes up for sale, I think it's Amazon who would overspend. I think.
I don't think they got the money. I don't think Amazon. I don't think has the money reserves, especially after Lord of the Rings. I don't think they got the money reserves that Disney got. Excuse me, Apple has. Apple's got that. Apple's got reserves like ain't nobody's business.
One thing you got to remember, man. One thing you got to remember is when we hear $500 million went into Lord of the Rings, and it's the most expensive TV show ever. That sounds like a lot. But whoever buys Disney, it's going to be like $65 billion or more. So that's just a rounding error. Like the cost of Lord of the Rings is a rounding error in terms. Now, the divorce, on the other hand, Bezos may not have the money because of that divorce. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, simply a rounding error to Disney.
Ugh, insane. Give me a rounding error. Can I have like a rounding error of a rounding error just delivered to my home?
Yeah, I would like to have whatever's left over whenever they round down on the accounts at like places like Amazon, Disney, and Apple.
I'll get the changes in Bob Iger's couch cushions.
I want to do the old Richard Pryor Superman 3 and get all the half pennies that everybody has.
Bro, I'm telling you, that's like, especially with like places like Disney and stuff, if you got like a half penny off of every sale that was in there, that's all you need. Just even a quarter of a penny. All right, before we get
like
down,
Richard Pryor, I go to prison.
Burn yourself up. But before we get to our final selection here, we have to find out how this Marvel special is related back 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone. And wouldn't you know it, even though Sean's not here, I have a prepared statement. Well, a prepared statement from Sean.
Nice.
Hello, Mr. Stallone. Michael Rooker reprises his role of Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy, the Christmas special. We've been talking about Michael Rooker since way back in episode 9 of HMP, the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Mr. Stallone, Michael Rooker has worked with everybody. In fact, it's a better question to ask who he hasn't worked with. What about Jean-Claude Van Damme? Hell yes, he has. A cinematic masterpiece known as Replicant. Oh, I liked Replicant. A movie where scientists clone a serial killer in order to catch him, and Van Damme stretches the boundaries of what is considered acting. What about Schwarzenegger? Sadly, Michael Rooker hasn't worked with The Sixth Day. He worked on The Sixth Day. That movie takes place in the distant future in the year 2015. He's worked with Tom Cruise, Steven Seagal, Al Pacino, and a man whose spirit animal is Sylvester Stallone. You, Sylvester Stallone. Without doing any research, Mr. Stallone, this is the 47th time Michael Rooker and James Gunn have collaborated. And your Stallone connection, and he's your Stallone connection this week. I hope to hear from you soon. Your pal, Sweet Shawnzy from the internet.
Well, thank you for that Stallone connection, our absentee friend, Sweet Shawnzy from the internet.
Can I tell you something, Bruce? I want a little. I have a little 6-day info for you.
Oh, I want to hear it.
So years ago, my guess if his thing is correct, and whenever he said there, before the 6th Day came out, my brother and I were walking around Concord Mills, and out of nowhere, this lady stops us, and she just goes, "Hey guys, you guys want to watch a trailer for a movie and answer some questions?" And we were like, "Yes, we do." So, like, they brought us into the bowels of the mall, right?
South Park Mall.
No, Concord Mills.
Oh, Concord Mills, the big boy.
Yeah, it's a big boy. It's a giant circle and everything. So what you don't know is like there's around the circle, because the whole mall, you'd be walking in a circle and all the stores are on the inside and outside of that ring. Well, in the middle is all of the crap, right? So you can take one of these special doors and go back through the bowels of the mall and stuff. And we watched the trailer for The Sixth Day, Schwarzenegger's movie. And then we commented on it like, would you rather watch? What do you think about this? What do you think the movie's about? Blah, 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 blah. And like, that's all it was. We didn't get anything special out of it, but it was kind of this neat thing where we just got to go back into the behind the scenes of the mall to watch a movie trailer. And everybody was like, where'd you guys go? We were just like, get this. Some lady just goes, "Hey, you want to watch a trailer?" And like, we're two dummies. We just go like, "Yeah,
sure.
Let's follow you back into this room that no
one
else is."
We were just glad it had nothing to do with the timeshare.
Surprised we weren't shot and killed, to be quite frank. All right, let's get down to it. Bruce, what was your Robin rating for Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special?
It's enjoyable, and it's a great holiday special, and it's one that's easy to slide into the Christmas rotation. Not too long, definitely has that Christmas spirit to it. So I'm going to say it's a December Tim Drake, but it's like a July Damian Wayne. So let's just say you're like running 6 months behind or whatever on listening to the podcast. And when you're listening to this, it's summertime. Don't watch it now. Just wait until November, December, then watch it.
Yeah, you'll have a lot more fun if you watch this at the right time and stuff. And you're right. It is that perfect kind of, I like that it's just like the Werewolf by Night. We're looking at 45 minutes. It's nice.
Yes.
It feels substantive enough. That's an easy word for me to say. But yet doesn't overstay its welcome.
And like, there's a part of me that thought it's Christmas season. I wouldn't mind rewatching Hawkeye because that was a good Christmas special last year. But you got to sit through a whole bunch of episodes. But with the Guardians, boom, you just sit down. It's on. It's going. Then it's over.
I watched it twice. I watched it Friday.
Easy to watch twice.
Yeah, I watched it Friday, and then to take my notes and stuff for the breakdown, I watched it again today. And it's good. It's nice, light fun. You get through it real fast. There's enough emotional pathos in it that, like, it feels solid. It doesn't feel like it's throwaway or anything. And I feel like it adds to the Guardians' legacy itself and, like, where the next movie's going to go. Like, maybe not to a huge degree, but, like, you can see them, like, dropping a couple of pebbles on the way to lead you over to the new thing that's coming on. And that excites me a whole bunch. So I can't wait.
It goes down as easily as an ice cold Zima.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Some Zima and Zagnuts or whatever the hell it was that
Zarg nuts.
Zarg nuts. I think like you only changed one letter there, James. I think you
Not to mention, Zagnut was already done by Tim Burton in the Beetlejuice movie.
Didn't they have weren't they eating Zagnut bars in what you call it? The Dave Chappelle flick?
Half baked.
I'm like, why am I?
Sure.
I kept
Why
thinking
not?
half
Yeah,
high,
of
and I'm
course.
not. It's not how high. I know that. That's not correct. I'm like, what's the name of the half baked? I figure of all people,
Nuts would fit in. Now I don't know if they're eating them or not, but they'd fit in.
They'd fit in for sure.
I'm from a Clark Bar family.
We are Clark bars only in this household.
Is that Sue Ellen Nitschke? Wasn't she the Clark Bar heir?
I think yes, yeah. Oh no, she was O. Henry.
Oh, Henry, that's it.
Yeah, get your candy bars right.
Sorry, Miss Nitschke.
More of
in
a
your bra.
bit of honey kind of guy. Well, that'll do it for this week of Hero Movie Podcast. Next week, we are going to be talking our Patreon selection. As we mentioned, this kind of booted it off a little bit because I thought this was going to come a little bit more towards Christmas. But like everything else, sure, shooting, they're going to shove it down your throat early there. So we're getting the Christmas season started. But do not worry. We've got your Patreon vote selection coming next week in the form of Kung Fu Hustle that is available for streaming right now on Hulu if you're not like, one of those awesome people like me and's got it on the Blu-ray already because, that's how I do things around here. Bruce, in the meantime, where can they find more of your work on the internet?
Love for you to go check out what I'm doing on YouTube, youtube.com/C/Bruce Leslie, or you can just use my handle at AnimeDad, all one word, AnimeDad. And I've been doing like live streams once a week, and those have been a lot of fun. So just go check them out. You can still watch them on demand. You don't have to watch them live, but it's kind of fun. I get to interact with the audience, kind of like a little podcast where I interact with the folks out there in YouTube land.
I'd like to start the thing where because you were wearing some swag on your stream earlier that we'd gotten from Manscaped as we had mentioned earlier
Yes.
on the show. I would like for people to send you crap to wear.
Oh, I would be all for it.
Like weird shirts or funny hats or
Within
something
reason,
like that.
nothing too creepy or
No,
perverted.
yeah, you want to listen. Don't be sending him no slave Leia outfit. That's not what we're talking about here.
Actually, I'd be comfortable with that. I was
No,
just
the
wearing
rest
like
of
a-
us would not, however. But if you want to send him like a gorilla head or something like that, if you
Yeah,
want
I'm all for it.
send him a gorilla head. That'll just do it for me. Oh, and check out Andor 30 Questions wherever you find finer podcasts. We are wrapping up a 12 episode series of Andor, a big one for these 30 question shows. We've worked awful hard on that, and we got a lot of great questions from listeners. So check out Andor 30 Questions wherever you find finer podcasts. That is it, everybody. Join us next week when we're talking Kung Fu Hustle for our Patreon selection for the absent Sweet Sean Kovacs for the internet. Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Portress. Stay super, everybody.
Goodbye, Marty and Evie.
You've all heard the story about Rudolph and his nose. But I'll tell you a Christmas tale that never has been told. Well, you may think you've heard it all, but you ain't heard nothing yet about that crazy Christmas that the North Pole can't forget. Rudolph was under the weather. He had to call in sick. So he got on the horn to his cousin Leroy, who lived out in the sticks. He said, Santa's really counting on me, and I hate to pass the buck. Leroy said, hey, I'm on my way, and he jumped in his pickup truck. When Leroy got to the North Pole, all the reindeer snickered and laughed. They'd never seen a deer in overalls and a John Deere tractor hat. But Santa stepped in and said, just calm down, 'cause they've all got a job to do. And like it or not, Leroy's in charge, and he's gonna be leading you. And it was Leroy, the redneck reindeer, hooked to the front of the sleigh, delivering toys to all the good old boys and girls along the way. Was just a down-home party animal, two-stepping across the sky. He mixed jingle bells with a rebel yell and made history that night. Before that night was over, Leroy had changed their tune. He had them scooting a hoof on every single roof by the light of a neon moon. Santa wrapped his bag with a Dixie flag. He was having the time of his life, and you could hear him call, Merry Christmas, y'all, and all of y'all a good night.